Speakers on the consent calendar. We have a number of speakers that have signed up, and we'll take those in order they were handed to me, and then we have a speaker on item 43 as well.
Okay, I'm going to read 16
Yes.
first. Authorize the Registrar of Voters to execute a revised and retroactive contract with the Secretary of State for voting system replacement in an amount up to $5,571,496 with a term of August 1, 2022 through December 31, 2024.
Okay, all right. And so we have a number of speakers. I'll take these, like I said, in the order they were given to me. So I have Rodney Seacrest, followed by Sherry Rain and Mike Rogers. Good morning.
Good morning, honorable board members and chair. My name is Rodney Seacrest, and I'm here today to voice my concerns about our elections in this state. The electoral process is the cornerstone of our self-governance and the preservation of our constitutional republic. We expect elections to be fair, honest, and transparent. In a constitutional republic, a form of government guaranteed to all U.S. citizens by the Guarantee Clause of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, minority voices and rights are protected. All points of view are represented and heard. The results of a true election in a republic would be that every party puts forth a candidate in the general election, protecting those in the political minority and giving them equal representation on the general election ballot. In contrast, in a democracy, 51% of the people can tell the other 49% to sit down and shut up. 51% of the people can oppress, steal from, and trample all rights of the other 49%. In a democracy, minorities have no protection of their rights. Every element of California's electoral process is an honor system and does not require proof of any kind: identity, citizenship, eligibility, residence, etc. At any stage of the process, the doors are wide open for deceased, relocated, and non-citizen individuals on either list to be impersonated with ease and their ballots be cast by anyone willing to do so. The chances of the perpetrator being caught are infinitesimally small. So many people today are asking themselves, why should I vote? Does it even matter? It brings tears to my eyes and a deep sorrow that America would be brought by circumstances to ask those questions. The founders bequeathed to all Americans the most amazing government document ever written by human hand, declaring that all living under its influence would be free from the tyranny of the majority and self-determining through a democratic process of electing governmental representatives. Under that system, each and every vote matters immensely. But now there's a clear reason to suspect the democratic process, i.e. elections, is being subverted by a myriad of methods. And true elections are being replaced by selections. One issue on the front burner of concern currently is election technology, i.e. the machines. Anyone paying attention is becoming familiar with the term algorithm, a programming of the voting machines and/or tabulators to create a predetermined result. Current evidence strongly suggests that the algorithms do exist in at least some places, and that all the machines currently in use are at least capable of and vulnerable to electronic manipulation. It is understandable that the people would feel discouraged, defeated, angry, frustrated, hopeless, rebellious, and more.
Rodney, I need you to conclude. We have a lot of speakers, so if you could kind of wrap it up, please. I don't mean to cut you short, but...
Perfect timing. I urge you all to carefully consider what the remaining speakers have to present, and I thank you for your considerations.
Thank you, Mr. Seacrest. Okay, Sherry, followed by Mike Rogers, followed by Jeanette Feltz.
Thank you for hearing me one more time.
Good morning, Sherry.
It is your responsibility as you sit there on this Board of Supervisors to provide for fair and safe elections for us. The Dominion software offers neither. The Dominion system is vulnerable to hacking and manipulation, as been shown by our speakers earlier and by what's being shared in the news and by arrest. It's not a safe system. Poll worker data has been exposed, making them vulnerable to who knows what. Who really knows what China intends to do with this information? I've heard even persons' banking information has become exposed. Who would have even thought that signing up to be a poll worker would put us in such a precarious position? This is in no way a safe environment. It is time to protect your constituents. We need a system that is transparent. This is not a partisan issue. This affects each and every one of us. The current system threatens everyone. Please, please vote no on the Dominion contract. It is time to return election integrity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Mr. Rogers.
Good morning. My name is Michael Rogers. I was born and raised here in Sacramento. And, you know, confidence is a precious thing. But when you lack confidence, bad things can happen. If you lose confidence in your money, there can be a run on the bank, and the whole system can collapse. If you lose confidence in your votes, well, then what collapses then? Your government starts to collapse. The laws that are implemented by those governments start to collapse. Our entire republic, our democratic republic, is founded on the sanctity and the honor of our individual votes as citizens of this United States of America and the state of California. And while I've heard lots of evidence about these voting machines having compromised technical problems, that they can be manipulated by others, and I'm no computer expert. I don't know. But I know that I'm concerned about this. Whether it's true or not, there is now a very large perception in our general population that these elections are rigged. They're not fair. They're being called. And whether that is true or not now sort of becomes immaterial, just like, well, if you go to the bank, is there enough money there for you to get it out? Well, no, there's not. But as long as we don't all go asking for it, the system continues to go. We're getting it to the point where this system is going to get unstable and start to fail. People will lose confidence in you. They'll lose confidence in our government. They'll lose confidence in our laws. And this is untenable to our nation, to our state, to our people. We're sovereigns. We deserve honest, fair elections. And so I urge you all to vote no on these machines because they're opaque. We can't see in them. And because of that, our confidence is really being eroded. And with that confidence, we start to lose faith in our nation and each other. Please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Supervisor Frost, did you want to make a comment or get some clarification before we take the next
I just
week?
wanted to clarify that this item 16 is not extending the Dominion contract. It's accepting grant funds, additional grant funds that our county had already been actually awarded part of the funds. This is just increasing that award. This is not a renewal of the Dominion contract, to my understanding. I want to clarify that and make sure I'm understanding it correctly.
Yeah.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. This is not the renewal of the Dominion contract. This is a grant from the state of California Secretary of State for the purchase of a variety of different kinds of equipment. We factored this grant that we knew we were going to receive in the June budget, and the equipment has been purchased. We do purchase nothing but certified equipment, although the staff report does acknowledge that you're allowed to purchase conditionally certified equipment. Sacramento County does not purchase conditionally certified equipment, but this is not the Dominion contract.
Should I save other comments for later, or can I?
Well, you're welcome to my comments at any time. We still have some number of speakers, but if you
I'll
want
just
to...
we'll go ahead and then I'll ask further later.
All right, very good. Okay, Supervisor Cerna?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to be in the queue to speak first when the speakers are done on this item.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. I would just note, I think it's important because, again, we've seen some of the correspondence that was obviously referenced in the off-agenda item presentation. And I guess to be clear, that the Dominion contract is being referenced here was a 5-year contract, and that there was delegated authority. And would you, because I could think, again, there was a reference in some of the communication I saw that this was going to come back to the board in January 2023. And I think it's being transparent and in full disclosure here, I believe that contract with the delegated authority had a 2-year extension, and it had 3 years, but then there were 2 years additional. Is that correct?
So the original contract was for 5 years, and it allowed for 3 additional 1-year extensions. So the current contract does in fact expire in January of 2023, and we are in the process right now of renewing it to extend it to January of 2024.
Okay.
And that authority was delegated to the department.
Okay, so it doesn't require board.
It does not require coming back to the board until after the third 1-year extension.
Which would be?
That I'm not sure. 2026.
Okay, all right. So I want people to know that before we leave chambers today. So anyway, important information. So, all right, let's go back to our speakers then. And we have Jeanette Feltz. Jeanette's followed by Rhonda De La Cruz, followed by Christine Rich.
Hi.
Good.
After the explanation of what we're voting on, you are still voting to allocate more of our tax dollars into systems that we don't have confidence in. So we're not looking to put more money into the problem. We want to see those funds diverted to other areas of concern that are of real concern to citizens. I would like the board to recognize that the continued use of Dominion machines in our elections compounds and continues the lack of voter confidence. I have spoken to many candidates, and all of them facing the problem of low voter turnout and citizens who feel that their vote won't count. Voters feel disenfranchised, and that is not acceptable. I know that the talking point right now is that right-wing extremists who are questioning the integrity of our elections. Technology does have its benefits, like the magic of video. Prior to 2020, there is video after video of Democrat leaders, including Hillary Clinton and Vice President Harris, openly stating in hearings that these machines are not only vulnerable, but that they're compromised. We need to move forward in a way that reassures citizens, registered voters in this county, that their vote for the people they want representing them matters, that it is valued, and that their vote will be counted and not be manipulated by software controlled by people who do not have their best interest in mind. For those that would argue that we simply cannot get the job done without the machines, that's simply not true. Not only do I believe that the public would welcome the opportunity to improve the integrity of our elections, I believe they would jump at the chance. I would like to see us move forward to a system that brings confidence back to our elections. We have a civic duty to serve on a jury when our name is randomly selected. Maybe we can move toward a similar system for our elections. What I do know is we can't continue to do what we have done and continue to ignore the issues and ignore the critical problem of voters feeling discouraged. The machines may serve as an added convenience, but the risk of bad intentions and actions far outweighs the benefit. I would suggest that the more than $5 million currently in question would be better spent hiring and training workers to physically count our cast ballots. You have an opportunity today to take the first step in restoring voter confidence. I would ask that you collectively vote to not renew the Dominion contract and instead move in a new direction, or in this case, an old direction, to restore integrity and voter confidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette. Good morning, Rhonda.
Hi, my name is Rhonda Dela Cruz, and to the chair, I want to tell you how impressed I was this morning. So happy that I'm in your district, my friend. I heard you this morning, and you gave me some confidence in just what you were talking about as far as being common sense with another issue up here. And I would hope that each and every one of you would take on the same thinking regarding the Dominion and our voting system. I agree with some of my associates out here that talk about our confidence. I am so concerned about our younger generations. I have spoken to many of them. I've taken that time out, and I've gone to each and every one of them, and I've said, why aren't you guys wanting to vote? I'm dragging these young people to the voting. I'm putting everything in front of them, and every one of them has said, because it's rigged. What good is it for us to show up? We try showing up and nothing happens. So with that, I would hope and pray that each one of you would really take this serious and to know that you are in the position to help start changing things. Our generation, our young people are important. They are our foundation. They're coming up. They're going to be our future. And this is important for not only for them, but for our grandchildren and our future grandchildren. And I would like to just say that I was really offended this morning with District 2, Patrick Kennedy and his views, and he indicated that all of you on the board all agreed. And I would hope that you don't agree in his views, because calling your constituents that it's all just, this is just all made up, when in fact you are being given the evidence of it right to you. You're being fed it. It's just really, really not okay. I am your constituents, and all the constituents of District 2. If you're in here, I say don't vote for Patrick again. And if you are watching on TV, think about who you're voting for, who is representing you. Because if he's able to talk like this out in the open, and it's okay, and if all of you and the board of all of you feel this way, please say so that way we know which way we need to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so next we have Christine Rich, and then Deborah Holmes, and then Karen Ajutin, I believe. Morning, Christine.
Good morning. My name is Christine, and I'm actually in Dawn's district.
Yep.
I've been a Sacramento voter since 1997. I've always enjoyed living and residing in Sacramento County until the last couple of years, when it seems there's a systematic decline of our voting rights and our rights as citizens. I'd like to encourage the board to consider one citizen, one ballot, one vote, period, in a conversation. No machines are needed, no automation is needed. There are other countries and other cities that have millions more people than we do, and they do same-day voting, and they do hand-counted ballots, and they do paper ballots only, so that there is no question about the validity of the elections. I went ahead and went on the Secretary of State's website today, and I discovered that there's a new California Voters' Choice Act. And in reading just some of the verbiage in the act, it looks like prisoners are going to be entitled to voting, which I'm not necessarily opposed to citizens voting, but I think that our U.S. Constitution requires felons are not permitted to vote. So if we can't even determine the validity of our registered voters' citizenship status through the Department of Motor Vehicles, how are we going to determine their felony status? How are we going to determine whose vote is actually legitimately counted so that voters can have confidence in our elections? There is a complaint form that voters can go to with the Secretary of State where you can file a complaint about your elections in the county and in the state. I thought I had that up so that I could read the address to everybody so they knew how to find it. Oh, give me a second. The complaint form is located on the Secretary of State's website, and it's under voter fraud complaint form, https://elections.cdn.sos.ca.gov/fraud-complaints/PDFs/ I'm an English voter, so I chose English. Please, any registered voters listening to this, go to the complaint form and submit your comments to the Secretary of State. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Okay, next to Deborah Holmes. Then followed by Karen Juden. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, supervisors. My name is Deborah Holmes, and I've lived in Sacramento County for 10 years. I currently reside in Supervisor District 2, and I'm requesting that Sacramento County immediately discontinue the use of Dominion voting machines. A forensic report was published on March 22nd, 2022, links to which were provided to you in a letter dated September 28th, 2022. I wondered if you took the time to read those reports. Nobody recalls? I can send it again. These reports show that the software on the Dominion election management server performed unauthorized reprocessing and recounting of over 25,000 ballots in the November 2020 election and over 8,000 ballots in the April 2021 election in Mesa County, Colorado. I'm sure you guys are aware of the election fraud investigations going on in Mesa County. It's been on the news. Additional data being provided to you today in a report published by Dr. Stanley Young with Election Integrity Info highlights significant voter data discrepancies in California. A summary of these findings shows that between 2016 and 2020, the population of California increased by less than 700,000 people, which includes children and non-citizens. Yet, in the 2020 election, the California vote total for the Democratic candidate increased by more than 2.3 million votes. This increase does not appear to be logically explainable, and potential causes of this discrepancy can be attributed to the use of the voting machines, which keep ineligible voters on the rolls indefinitely. This allows fabricated votes to be submitted. And additionally, these machines do not allow for genuine oversight of voting tabulation. They have been proven to be connected to the internet and have also been proven to be hackable and hacked. We the people rely on our elected officials to do the right thing and to uphold your oath of office to support and defend our liberties, which are protected by the U.S. and the California constitutions. It is imperative that we restore election integrity, as what we currently have is a compromised election system. This allows public officials to be selected, not elected. This must change here in Sacramento County with the November 2022 election. I would like to remind you that each of you have the authority, you have the civic duty, and you have an ethical responsibility to ensure for your constituents that elections in our county are safe and fair. Thank you for discontinuing the use of these corrupt machines and restoring same-day, in-person only voting in our county.
Thank you, Deborah. And then Karen will be followed by Nikki McAnally and then Debbie Woolley. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Karen Juden. I went down to the registrars and I talked to the tech. They were doing a certification of the machine, so I went down to talk to the tech. And he was so gracious. I got to talk to him as long as I wanted. And I asked him if he'd ever seen the source code on the voting computer. Well, he had not. He'd never seen it because it's proprietary. It's owned by Dominion. So I said, well, if your voting computers are hacked, how would you know if you can't see the source code, and how could you repair it? And he didn't have an answer for me. No bank would ever have counting on a computer that they can't see the source code. So saying that they're certified computers, it means nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because you can't see the source code. The registrar hasn't seen it, no techie has seen it, nobody in the registrar's office has seen it. It could say anything. But guess what? We do have the source code. In Mesa County, Colorado, a woman named Tina Peters was elected to run the elections. And when she found out that they were going to come in and do trusted build, ordered by the Secretary of State in Colorado, she decided to get the source code, an image of it before and after the update. Now, this information is incontrovertible. It's captured in time and cannot be changed. That evidence is absolutely correct. And so she put it out on the internet, the source code on the Dominion voting computers in Mesa, Colorado, and programmers looked at it and they saw that there's an algorithm that creates 2 books. The first book lost 5,000 votes. The clerks in the office never saw that. They don't know what's going on because they can't see the source code. The second book changed 27,000 votes. Now, if you're not counting on paper and you're using an image of the ballot, that image can be manipulated by the computer. And that's what happened. And that's what's happening all over our nation. And if you think that we're going to suddenly go away and decide that they weren't shooting and we're just, conspiracy theorists, you're wrong, because we have a ton of evidence. We've got the source code in Mesa County. We have Antrim in county in Michigan. The Michigan judge released the report of the audit of Dominion voting systems, revealing that the machines and their software were designed to create systemic fraud. We're not going away. We're going to be back, and we don't want you to renew a contract with Dominion. And we don't want to use voting computers.
Thank you, Karen. Okay. Next is Nikki McNally.
Hi. Namaste, which means I salute the divinity in you, as it should be, right? We should respect one another. I'm Nikki McNally. I'm an independent voter. I represent many. We the people do not consent to child's play of ballot harvesting, Dominion computer, and signature copy technology. And there is a computer that duplicates our signature. That's not fair, and it ain't right. France got rid of Dominions, counted by hand, 37 million ballots, is proven effective and doing the tried and true old-fashioned way we grew up with. More people will be involved. As it is, 87% of us have given up. We're apathetic. There's no hope. I've talked to many. I've been out there handing the pamphlet out for days. And I'd say even more than 87%. So how fair is that? One day, one vote, do it the right way, fill out the ballot and hand it in and count it that day, because there'll be volunteers to do that. As a yogi and a near-death experience, I know lifetimes and karma. Karma is real. Thank you. So let's end our merry-go-round, useless election fraud. Unify, and come together as one people under God, and just be one party of love. Let that be our next pandemic. Love. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Okay, next, thank you, Nikki. Next is Debbie Woolley, followed by Donna O'Shea, followed by Blanca Matthews. Good morning, Debbie. Hi, Debbie.
Hey there.
Good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to say hello to Patrick and acknowledge the harassment that's going on in the world around the voter integrity. In 2016, I watched the elections go upside down and be stolen. I know it happens. I was furious. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders and everybody was upset, you know? And I'm still upset. There is a lot of harassment, but we need to stop being partisan about this. We need to realize it happened to the Republicans. And man, they're really upset now, you know? They're demoralized. And all these myths and conspiracies, oh my God. Well, I want to talk about a myth, and that's the U.S. citizen. In our state, nobody knows who a U.S. citizen is when it comes to voting. No one's verifying it. But as one of we the people, as my status, I claim the jurisdiction of common law, which means I'm your boss. We're your boss. You are servants. And you know, when the king, the tyrant, wouldn't listen to the colonists, we didn't need a court. We didn't need any attorneys to write the Declaration of Independence and write a new constitution. If we have no confidence in who we're voting for, Democrats and Republicans, we're going to come together. We're going to unify. We are going to unify because truth is unifying. If there's cheating going on with this software, the people that are doing it are way smarter than I am. I just use common sense. And the common sense says to read the Constitution. And the Constitution says in Article 2, Section 2, that the people have all the political power and we can change this government whenever we want. When we wake up to that, we're going to hold everyone who has been putting these strange requests back and saying, you know what? Why do we have 80 boxes out there spread all over the county for a whole month? Where's the accountability? I don't see it. It doesn't feel good. Vote no on the Dominion grant. $5 million, you guys can make it up somewhere else. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. Okay, next Donna, and then Blanca, and then Carrie Ben. Good morning.
Good morning. I want to start off by asking, do you guys validate parking? Do you validate your parking? A little joke. Yeah, Desmond, do you validate? Okay. What she said earlier kind of changed, well, it kind of like deflated a little bit of what was said, but grant money that you're getting from Dominion, is that what it is? Grant money from Dominion?
No, it's grant money from the state. It's state dollars, our dollars.
For Dominion?
To provide a number of services. That's what's in the item today.
Okay, because
including machines.
I would say that you shouldn't be taking the grant money coming from them. You need to immediately discontinue the use of the Dominion voting machines in Sac County. A forensic report was published on March 22, links to which were provided to you in a letter dated September 28, 2022, shows that the software of Dominion Election Management Service performed unauthorized possessing the recounting of over 25,000 ballots in the November 2020 election and over 8,000 ballots in the April 2021 election in Mesa, Colorado. I would like to remind you that you have the authority, the civic duty, the ethical responsibility to ensure for your constituents that the election in our counties are safe and fair. Thank you for having the backbone to discontinue these corrupt machines and restoring same-day, in-person only voting in our county. That's what we need to go back to. That's what worked for us. That's what we trust. And there would be a lot more people here to talk to you about it, but the meetings are during working hours, so it's a few of us that are speaking for millions of people that feel exactly the same way. So thank you for your time, and think about what is said. Just sit on it for a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Okay, Blanca Matthews, then Carrie Benton, and then Sandra Marquez. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. I didn't have anything prepared. I'm just going to wing it. According to Mr. Kennedy, you guys all feel the same way that voter fraud. We could play it back on video, Mr. Kennedy, the comment that you said. You said, I hope the board feels the same way as I do. Something like that. I hope you guys don't. That voter fraud is a conspiracy theory. That's pretty sad to hear from a board of supervisor. And the burden of proof, let's talk about that. If there is no fraud, prove it to us. It's not to us. The people, we do not yield our sovereignty to you. You serve us. The people, by delegating authority, do not give you, public servants, the right to decide what is good for us, the people. Some of the trainings that you guys provide to your county employees, I have read some of those training documents. And within those documents, it says, I'm not going to quote, but it's paraphrasing. All employees and officials of the county need to remember that public office, I'm paraphrasing, okay? So all employees and officials of the county need to remember that public office and local government exists to serve the needs of the citizens in the county. It is the duty of every employee and official to expose corruption whenever it is discovered. So if the people here is saying we don't trust this type of voting system, we don't believe that it is secure, and they're trying to bring you evidence, and you shut down and you close your ears and you close your doors and you don't respond to emails and you don't read the documents they're providing to you, are you really listening to the concerns of the constituents? Probably not. And there's plenty of you that have received emails and there's no response back from various districts. So, like I said, the burden of proof is on you. If everything is secure, then somehow prove it to us and show us that there is no reason to be suspect. The DMV, I just recently changed my name. I'm kind of in the process. Sometimes I forget. I did it last week or 2 weeks ago. My last name, and yeah, looking back, the DMV did not ask me if I was a citizen or not. Birth certificate, I could have brought any different type of ID. They do request an ID, but it didn't necessarily have to be that I'm a citizen. So anyways, that's my comment. Have a good.
Thank you, Barb. Okay, I have Carrie and then Sandra. If there's anyone else that wants to speak on item 16, I don't know if we have folks on the phone or not, Madam Clerk, but those are the last two I have signed up in chambers for this item. So, okay, go ahead, Carrie.
I also do not appreciate the gaslighting and the dismissing of the issue of lack of voter integrity by referring to us as conspiracy theorists. Would you say the same when Barack Obama, John McCain, Hillary Clinton pointed out that the voting machines are problematic? And when Kamala Harris said, quote, "We brought in folks who, before our eyes, hacked election machines." So it doesn't seem like if I don't know, you weren't paying attention to most people who are speaking, and obviously this is addressed to you, but not originally. Originally, I did not think that there was going to be someone who would gaslight us right from the start. But there have been other people to testify. Curtis testified at a House Judiciary Committee December 13th, 2004, and said that these electronic elections can be fixed and go undetected. These machines are built by private companies with proprietary secret software, as you have been told, that no one is allowed to see. If we know these machines are hackable, then why are we using them? We don't need immediate election results. We need election integrity. Thank you.
Okay, Sandra Marquez, and Sandra's the last one I have signed up to speak on this item, so we have some folks on the phone. Okay. Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here. So to utilize the process that our forefathers established here for us to be able to speak to our representatives. So I'm glad to be here. My name is Sandra Marquez, and I'm a constituent of this beautiful state of California, and I am asking you to please do not disregard, do not dismiss these concerns and comments that my fellow citizens are sharing here with you. They have brought you many concerns, and they have brought proof of what it is that they are stating. I am very concerned about these issues as well, and I come before you to ask you to not dismiss them, to look into them. That's part of your responsibility as our representatives, and we hope that you will take that responsibility seriously. I just wanted to end with a quote by Edmund Burke. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so I don't know everybody else signed up to speak on. Oh, Deborah?
Do you mind if I make a comment?
You're welcome to make a comment on this item. Sure, you're up. Just fill out a speaker form when you're done, Deborah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I just want to make a comment. This is my first time here. And I have to say that these people vote you in office. These elections are not to the standards that we want them to. You represent us. And I'm sorry, Phil, are we boring you? You know, it's like you need to listen to us. And I, as observing, thank you, Dawn, I appreciate your attention. I just don't think that you guys are listening. And it's important to us, obviously. And you're in office because we're voting for you. We don't vote for you. You're not going to sit there. So I need to make sure that you guys are listening. So if we bored you, my apology, but it's obviously very important to us as a U.S. citizen, as a voter, and under the Constitution. Thank you. I appreciate, Dawn, everything.
Thank you, Deborah. Okay. All right, we do have someone on the phone on this item, so we're going to have the clerk go to our phone.
Please transfer the caller. Hi, caller. Please start with your comments. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, this is Gabrielle Ingram of District 2. The summary that I'm hearing from everybody is there is evidence of fraud. So regardless of one thinks, there is evidence of fraud. So the group is opposed to any contracts for additional funding. We don't care what it's for. If it's for the machines, we don't want our tax money going to that. We would like the grant rejected. Election fraud serves both sides of the aisle. There's evidence of that. Biden is already setting the frame for election interference. So if 2022 tips to the Republicans, guess what you're going to hear? A bunch of Democrats in here saying the same things as we are. Clinton accused, maybe I'm on the phone, Clinton accused of Russian collusion as the only way Trump won. Both sides of the aisles have called this out. There is evidence that this has been going on for a long time. The only way to squash it is to get rid of the machines. That's it. It's the only way to do it. It is not a conspiracy. It is not a conspiracy theory, gaslighting Kennedy. It is a conspiracy against the people. Your vote doesn't matter, progressive Democrats. My vote doesn't matter as a conservative. It's rigged. Do away with the system. Stop the gaslighting. None of us benefit from this. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Gabrielle. All right, any other folks on the phone? Okay, so that's our last caller.
No other callers.
Okay, so we have Supervisor Cernan and Supervisor Frost, I believe, both wanted to weigh in. So Supervisor Cernan.
Great, thank you. There's no further comments or questions from folks. I know Supervisor Frost wants to chime in, but I'm going to move the item.
Okay, all right, so we have the item been moved and seconded. So go ahead. Any other comments, Mr. Cernan? No, that was it. Okay, Supervisor Frost.
Thank you, Chair. First, I want to say that I appreciate the citizens who have been diligently, watching the civic process and who are willing to come out. I know it's an expense and an inconvenience, and probably many more wanted to come. I also want to say that the Voters' Choice Act, when it was originally voted, I can't remember when it was several years ago, I did not support it, and the reason I gave at the time was that I was concerned about fraud. And so I share many of the sentiments that were expressed here today. What I'm hearing from you is that as voters you feel disenfranchised and that you are lacking confidence in whether or not your vote makes a difference, and I don't want that. I have questions too, and I want to get to the bottom of them, but I have not been able to get my hands on specific evidence within my county that says there's something wrong. Literally, I have had so many conversations with the registrar of voters, and they're doing, I believe, if there's fraud happening, it's not caused by our county staff. They're doing everything they can to ensure that the process is going, is transparent and that it's going well. The challenge I think we have could go beyond maybe to an arena that we're not aware of. I don't know what is going on in the machines. I do know that I'm interested in a couple of the comments that were thrown out today. I'm interested in getting to the bottom of it. I think we all want to get to if there's a problem, let's look at it and find it. I mean, and then we can do something about it. And this isn't about Supervisor Kennedy made some comments about the staff. This isn't really about against our staff. This is really, we want to make sure that we have election integrity. So I took some notes while you were talking. Debbie Holmes talked about the source code being proprietary to Dominion, and Tina Peters from Mesa County, Arizona, I believe, and
Colorado. Oh, Colorado.
Okay. I don't know if there's a way that you can connect that person with me directly, and maybe, I don't know if Chair Nottolli is willing to have a meeting with that person, just to have a conversation, so we can begin to explore and learn more about this and what's going on. Maybe our legal could be there. Would you be willing, Supervisor Nottolli?
I meet with just about anyone who requests a meeting, so I'm pretty open to that. I think I have a pretty good and strong reputation for meeting with folks. So whether they agree with me or I agree with them, I'm certainly open to hearing from folks. So
I took a guess on you being willing to do that. It was a pretty good guess. The other person that Karen Juten made, or someone talked about, Debbie Holmes talked about a forensic auditor, a forensic investigation that took place. I would like to talk to the person, the forensic auditor, for them to explain to me what they found in Arizona, because I've heard this about Arizona, and I've also heard from other people who are attorneys who have stated that got all settled and it wasn't proven, something wasn't proven. So we need to, if we're going to get to the bottom of it, I'm willing to look at it and go down that road. And I'm hoping Supervisor Nottolli will be involved in that meeting also. Will you, Supervisor Nottolli? Putting you on the spot. Those are two meetings. I won't request any more, I promise. Okay. Regarding the citizenship, I have had that conversation also with our registrar of voters, and regarding the citizenship, the burden of verifying citizenship is on the Secretary of State. The DMV would not be the one who would verify that, and it seemed like they admitted it in their letter that you spoke of, Deborah. And so I'm not sure if that's a conversation with a legislator or someone like that. But again, I think it's important for us to, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I am willing to go down this rabbit hole and figure out, what is going on. If there is something, if there's nothing wrong, I think we should find out so that we can put this to rest and be done with it. And I think if we don't look into it, it's just going to continue to fester and be a growing problem. And we have an election coming up. Now, I want to comment on item 16. My understanding of item 16 is this is not in any way renewing a contract, and I think legal counsel, I'm hoping legal counsel will let me know if I understand correctly, that this is really money that we allocated in our budget. We knew there was going to be a delay in the funding because there was a delay with the Secretary of State with a grant that was already approved, and we funded some machines with general funds. Those machines that we accepted were certified because we have a policy. We do not accept machines that are certified. You can say that our machines are not.
Conditionally certified versus certified. There's a distinction. You said certified.
Okay.
It's conditionally certified versus the certified. I didn't mean to correct you, but that.
Okay, so I guess I need from legal counsel, because I was understanding they were, everything we bought, everything we have at the county is certified. So if it's not certified.
That's correct. Yes.
Fully certified,
Fully
yes.
certified.
Not conditionally
What's
certified.
the difference?
Fully certified.
Not conditionally certified. The grant allows you to purchase certified or conditionally certified, but the County of Sacramento's policy is only to purchase certified.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so, we did. So if we don't accept this money, then either way, you taxpayers, we're paying. I hate to tell you, whether we accept this grant or not, you can pay it through state money that's made available to us for Voters' Choice Act, or we can pay it out of our general fund, which means we have less money to spend on other things that we need money for. That's the only really discretionary funding that we have. So I'm inclined to support accepting the money from the state, and with the commitment that I want to move forward to try to get to the bottom of the election integrity so that we know we can have confidence that we do have it. And I make that commitment to you. Thank you.
All right. I just want, if I could, and certainly thanks to our speakers this morning. Did you have a question? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I forgot to get legal counsel.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think your question was whether or not this has anything to do with extending or renewing the actual contract for the purchase of the.
Right. I just wanted to make clear to everyone, this does not, and so.
Yeah, this is simply receiving funds from the state. It has no impact on the contract to purchase anything.
And the contract can be extended 3 one-year periods, and it's already been delegated when we initially approved the 5-year contract, and therefore it won't be coming to the board in January. The path forward is, if you need to help us, help us understand what you see, and we'll be willing to look at all of it with an open mind on both sides, because I'm not assuming there's a problem. I can't assume there's a problem until I see something that makes me feel like I need to look further. Let's take a look at it. And I feel like we do need to take a look at it. Thank you. I'm done.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Supervisor.
No.
Deborah, we've closed public testimony, so but certainly, as you're going to follow up with some information, so if you want to follow up with the board in writing or certainly verbally, that'd be fine. So I want to just go back to what's before us today, because this goes back to 2020 when we initially agreed to accept the funding, and there was a term that expired. So we're now asking to extend the term for the purpose of receiving. We've received some more than $2 million already, and this would allow us to claim against the remaining $5 million plus. Is that correct?
I have to pull it up, but I think we're expecting the $5 million and we're getting an additional $2 million. Is that correct, David?
Good morning, Supervisor Nottolli.
Yes.
The original execution of the contract, which that's a term that the Secretary of State uses, it's truly a grant that we use more commonly used, was for $4.7 million was the grant. We've claimed against that grant up until June of 2022, $2.2 million. Okay. So then the new grant has been moved up to $7.7 million.
$3 million,
right, which allows us another $5.5 million to claim against the state. And this gives us an additional 2 years to claim, 18 months now, to claim against those. And I'm not sure if I introduced myself. I'm David Villanueva. I'm Deputy County Executive over Administrative Services, which elections is part of this agency.
Okay, so the first contract was claimed back to January of 2019 and was actually approved going back by board action in February 2020. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so. Okay.
So what I want to ask about, though, is, because I think there are a number of things that are bundled in here, and certainly to the points being made today about the systems that are being utilized, but this also covers additional costs, both as security of communication, the cost of the vote centers, and updates to the election management system, also equipment that's used for the ballot drop boxes, the ballot sorting process equipment, and so forth. And I know there were questions raised around some of those activities, but I want to be clear, though, the contract says that for costs associated with voting systems that have been certified or conditionally certified pursuant to the California voting system standards, since we don't take systems and don't we're not either purchasing or utilizing systems that are conditionally certified. Why do we even have that language in there? And because if we're only going to claim for those that are certified, then I think that our contract ought to be very clear, because that's what we do. That's what our intent is. Whether or not the state would allow for that or not, I think it has to be stricken from the information or the language. Is that?
That language was included as part of the Secretary of State's standard contract to us. Yeah. That's why we've highlighted it and put it in the board letter to draw attention to that for the board. I can't think of an instance where we would use non-certified or conditionally certified. But there are some things that aren't necessarily certified, which could be ballot boxes and some of these other things. So not necessarily systems that are referred to that truly get certified by the Secretary of State.
Okay, no, but I think it's clear. If I look at paragraph 2 on page 2, it says qualifying expenditures, which again goes to what the Secretary of State has put forward, include voting systems that have been certified or conditionally certified pursuant to the California voting system standards. It goes on to list a whole other things. Since we are only either acquiring and or utilizing and then claiming for certified voting systems, not to some of the appurtenant materials that might be used or equipment, I think that we ought to be really clear, because it's been said here on the record, but that's not what the staff report says. It doesn't say we just use certified systems, unless it's elsewhere here that I'm not reading that. So I want to make it clear. And again, we won't claim for that, but I think it needs to be a better record. So.
And I think the contract is not something we can change because it's a Secretary of State contract, but we could certainly clarify in a staff report what our intentions are.
Yeah, I think so, because again, you made it very clear right from the get-go this morning, and I just think it's important to point that out. So, okay. So this is basically an extension of time, recognizing obviously what we've heard from folks this morning, but to claim for those things that would be allowable under the Secretary of State's contract with this county and probably with other counties. But for the record, we are only, as it relates to the voting systems, are only certified voting systems that we would be claiming for and utilizing. I think it's more than just claiming for, it's what we utilize. Okay. All right. So any other questions or comments? We do have a motion and a second, and I think we've heard comments by several members of the board. And with that, then, if there's nothing further, then I would ask the clerk to please call for the vote.
Unanimous vote.
Okay. All right. Again, we appreciate all of you with us this morning, those that have weighed in, and certainly the information you've shared. And it sounds like we're going to be some additional follow-up on that. So, all right. That concludes item 16. We still have the